Welcome back, guys. Today I got a quick video for you. Today I just want to talk about gear. Not any specific kind of gear, just quality versus quantity. Something I often see, and I did it myself when I first started out, was people might spend a good amount of money on, say, a rifle or some other product, but then they go cheap on the supporting gear for it. Whether that's optic or red dot, maybe a light, or the sling, holster. This is where the saying, buy once, cry once comes in. It's better to spend a little more up front, get a higher quality piece of gear, than it is to dump a lot of money into several small pieces of gear that you just have to replace because it breaks. I see this all the time with guns. Someone goes and buys a brand new handgun, $500 or $600, and then they spend $20 on a cheap holster. When you're going to get a lot more usability out of that initial purchase if you saved up a little more. Instead of getting the $20 holster, you go and buy a $50, $60 something holster that's made out of Kydex. But my main point today is this here. It's a QD sling cup. Now you don't have to go buy top of the line gear. You also want to make sure and vet it and make sure it's not the lowest quality stuff. That's what this was. This was a $5 QD sling swivel. It was extremely cheap. At the time, I was more concerned about price than I was for quality. And as you can see, the cap popped off and this no longer works. Popped off while I was at the range. I had a long gun, not this one, but it's about 9 pounds. I was shooting. When I went to sling the rifle, I let go and that pocket popped out of the QD sling swivel, and this completely popped out of the socket. The gun itself, it was not the fault of the QD sling swivel on the handguard, but of the swivel itself. And that's my point. Afterwards, I had to go buy a higher quality QD sling swivel. Now, this was several years ago, so this is just a new one I have anyway. But if in the beginning I'd spent $15 on a QD sling swivel instead of $5, I would have spent $15 instead of a total of $20. Now, that's a pretty simple and minor mistake, but it's good it happened on the range while I was practicing versus when I actually needed the rifle. And if I had to sling it for whatever reason, and the sling completely popped off and I lost the rifle on the ground, that would have been a much worse day. So the point of this video is don't go cheap on important equipment or gear. Make sure you're getting something that's fairly high quality. You don't have to go and buy the outrageously high price stuff, but you also don't want to go on the other spectrum of getting the super cheap stuff if it's going on an important piece of life-saving equipment. If you like experimenting around, buying the highest end stuff and buying the cheapest stuff just to mess around with it, that's on you. Just saying, those cheap knockoffs, while they could look the same, don't always have the same quality control. And if you see someone you know who's using those cheap products, you don't have to make fun of them unless you have that type of relationship with them. Go ahead and try to help them out. Show them that could lead to some major problems, potentially life-saving issues. Try to help them become better shooters and leave a good impression of the gun community. Because if it's their first time getting into it, they also don't know. So don't try to shame them because they bought something cheap. We've all been there, hence this. But let them learn from your mistakes, our mistakes, and just show them the right way. Thank you for watching our video. Please like, subscribe, and leave your comments below.